Yeah, good morning. I want to make a video to where tell about the what no one tells you about cell phones in high school. I'm gonna recollect on some stories that you know that will back this whole thing, the theory up. I'll tell you this because I've seen it all with the cell phones. A lot of things. And I'm going to start off with some of the classrooms I've been in. And some of the situations that either I've been in or somebody's been in or whatever. And kind of to do a tale. So I'm going to start from the beginning of high school. That was the beginning of cell phone era to me. And the reason why my mom and dad got me a phone was because I had band. I had extracurricular, and this phone was used for emergencies. Like emergencies saying that, hey, I canceled practice. Situation. And also there are times I went to dances too, not to call them saying I'm on my way home. Or there are times that I had to use the phone to, like if we're coming home from a marching festival or concert festival, if I'm by myself, going with the group, that I had to be able to call and say, hey look, we're getting towards Terrebonne Parish. I'm going to tell you some instances I've seen in school though, but the times I've used it to be used in another video. And why is it helpful for a high schooler? That's going to be in for another video. But first of all, foremost, I've heard cell phones ringing in the classroom. And first of all, I'm going to start off with physical science class. And my sophomore year, I had to take the physical science as my graduation science requirement. And I had to take one or two more sciences after that. But there was a day that I was in Miss Gertrude's room trying to learn, and there was a phone that went off. And the problem was, they had somebody's phone went off, and she was like wondering whose phone went off. It got to the point she had to call administration because somebody refused to get their phone to her. It said either give me a phone or we're going to search all the bags, which I was totally against them searching my bag. Because that's my privacy, for one. I didn't want no man to search it. They had no rights to. I was going to say, you're not searching my bag unless you get my mom and dad's permission to search it. And if you don't like it, oh well, take it up with them. I would say something like that, because look, they would not have my permission to touch any of my stuff. Because I'm totally against it. For some reason. And what happened was, somebody had to unfortunately surrender their phone. And for me, I took my phone, and this is every day for me. And I had an old-fashioned phone. Old-fashioned, basic talk text phone. It doesn't sound like what we got now, which is this one, the smartphone here. But it's basic talking text. Yeah, I took my phone apart many a times. Took the whole back apart, going to school like that, into the battery and put all those components into my percussion bag. Because some of the percussion bags had little small pouches to sneak stuff in. I found a little cubby hole to put that phone in to where nobody knows. And it was the funniest thing is like, yeah, somebody gave her their phone, It's like, yeah, I must have left out of this one, because you know what? I wasn't going to let them touch my bag. That was kind of, that would have been disrespectful. 2, they don't have a warrant. 3, they either have to get a warrant or give my parents permission to touch the bag. Which, I'm not letting them fool with it. Because it is none of their business. Bingo. Said that one. Another incident I remembered. I remember just going on the bus one time with the fact that I just learned that practice got canceled. This was so ignorant. This is so crazy. I tried to put the battery back in my government issued phone and put the back on. I go to turn the phone on, and I was not in the instructional hours, by the way. I was heading out for the day. That sort of situation. I was like heading out, going home for the rest of the day. And what it was, I was trying to contact my dad, who normally answers the phone, and say, "Hey, Dad, practice is canceled." And normally I would just have a key right on me and in my bags at all times. We always had a rule with that one. So kids, if I was to cancel practice, or no, my practice got canceled by the teacher, I would know to unlock myself in the house and to unlock my sister. I had people signaling outside the darn school bus I was riding to get off my phone. I would have said something like this: "Look, this is an emergency, and my parents have to know when my practices are canceled. So would you just please back off and let me tell them what's going on?" Because we always have an open communication in my family. Like, if a practice got canceled, they want to know everything. They want to be in the know of it all. So in the future, I had to learn, okay, let's wait till the bus pulls out of campus. H.L. Bourgeois. That's where all this happened, by the way. HLB. Let's wait till the bus pulls out of campus. Turn the phone on when we go into Evergreen. Then text them at Evergreen. So that's what I did. Because in Evergreen, they can't even tell the students what to do. Because it's not their student. So I figured out a very smart way to do it. Pretty dang much. If you want to know. So, the other times I remembered was one time I took an English class in school. That was Miss Ronnie Kramer's class back in my last year of school. But I know some of those guys they didn't mean to be jerks about it. I know they were just following the rules because of that situation. But I really wish that everyone parents would have a little more education to dealing with family emergencies. That sometimes some people have to text their mom or their dad saying they're coming home in the event of emergency. But this is not the case. Now we'll create a part 2 of what's considered an emergency at a later date. But I was in Miss Ronnie Kramer's class for senior business English, and what happened was they had another incident with a phone ringing in class. This was pretty interesting. And it was so loud that people heard it. Even the sensitive one like me, they tend to have that, say, "Oh my gosh, I'm sensitive, what's going on?" So what happened was she had to collect the phone from that said person and report it to the darn principal. Yeah, it's like, that's crazy, but hey, but that's the way it was back then. But I say that I'm going to leave it with that because I think I'm going to take the teacher side and the student side a little more on account for the high school level, that yet phones are distracting. Let's put it that way. Phones are very well distracting. It is considered rude to have a phone go off in the middle of class, and yet your teachers and your students are learning. Or teachers are teaching, and the students are trying to get some material learned. Per se, and it does create a lot more unnecessary paperwork for the teacher once it goes off, once the phone gets collected. Then what? The big then what would be they'll have to write it up, the phone gets confiscated, the parent a lot of times will get so angry that they gotta pick the phone up anyways and deal with that student. For me, I was easy to teach that, there's some things called boundaries. Number one, and I think goodness that I've seen students, go put their phones in their cubby areas in the band hall. It's like a safe haven for the students, really, to go put their phones. And I'll tell you one thing. That's something I'm glad for. When I'm in that class period, I can put my stick back in my cubby. There's a straight reason why. And the cubbies are sort of like the lockers. Put the stuff in and you don't get in trouble. And that's like your haven to all things. And then at the end of the day, you can go grab it and be on your way out. Simple. And I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you some things that the principal should handle when a person is on their phone. Just ask them to kindly get off their phone. Not just bark orders shut down. Say, can you please get off your phone? You're still in school grounds. Simple. Don't just try to signal that. That's kind of rude. And yeah, you don't know what the students around you are walking through. Some can have personal emergencies at home that sometimes the loved ones are in the hospital. Or sometimes instances where the parents work and sometimes the student has extracurricular activities. And this was my case. And I had to deal with a lot of it. Especially during my last year of school. I had parents who worked when I was in 10th grade through 12th grade. They worked away from campus. They weren't as close by, I've had instances where I had to use it and say it's canceled. It's not my fault that something's happened. And sometimes it's just telling a person to get off the phone during an emergency is kind of rude. It's kind of unnecessary. I understand that they have emergencies that they have to contact the parent. That could really happen at times. And I had to go through times going to school festivals by myself. Yes, that's the reason why they also made sure I had a phone, because I made away trips quite often. It means it's never a dull moment when I was with Miss Collins. And I'm glad she kind of let us use the phones to, let's say if we're on the way home or something like that, we can call our parents to come meet us at school. That's something I'm forever grateful for. That's I'm glad that she gives a grace period saying, look, we're not going to be in trouble. And she didn't write us up for having the phones on the away trips. We made away trips quite often in band. So those of you going to high school and y'all in marching band or whatever, you're going to make away trips more often than you think. So So if you're like me, had parents who worked like 8 to 5, like my dad worked 4 to 4, he still works 4 to 4 now. And my mom worked until she got sick. A lot of her jobs were like 8 to about 5. And hers was like she had some days off in between during the week. And there were times where cell phone usage was kind of that situation. There were times I remember the last year of school, I've had to do a lot more stuff besides my parents' work. And my mom, like she worked, but there were times she had to come take care of my grandmother. And then you seen her picture right in the back of me, right? I think it's right there, somewhere over there. But anyways, she had to go in after work, go and take care of my grandmother. Yeah, in the hospital off and on that year. So times like this, I had to make sure that I had ways to communicate, especially because of that reason. Since sometimes it's really not, let's say, it's not my mom's fault that happened. Some things like that happen. And sometimes life happens, you know. I know that sometimes if you use a phone during the lockdown, that's a whole nother story. Because then again, it can be like kind of putting lives in. Either sometimes I say the phones can save lives, sometimes it can put us more in danger. But I'm not gonna go into detail with that one, because I'll tell you one thing or another. Yeah, we did have lockdown drills, and we had to go into the band closet during band hours. Then I think with the other classrooms we had to flip desk upside down. There were times I went behind the teacher's desk. That would be very frightened. But I hope you liked my video, and I hope you see you later.